from watching part of the Amazon Prime documentary, you kind of see how the club are starting to fall down a bit.
Yeah.
I think with how he's not really playing like he used to play at Tottenham.
Yeah.
I think it'd be hard for them to get back into the top six again for a few years, I'd say, if they keep Mourinho.
Yeah, I think
it's one of those where you need a younger manager.
Yeah, I think they might need to rebuild at some point. I do think that they've strengthened in certain positions that they needed to strengthen in, which is why I've kept them sort of in my top, whatever it is. Obviously, bringing in Doherty, I felt that they definitely needed a right back. None of the ones that they had were Aurier and... Did they have anyone else, or...?
There are other fullbacks. They have Aurier.
I know they had Walker Peters, kind of, but...
Yeah, they never really played him, I guess.
Yeah, so anyway, so they've brought in a right back that's... I mean, Atwell obviously shown that he's good enough to be in a Premier League side, in a good Premier League side. They've brought in Joe Hart as a backup. Obviously, doesn't really mean much.
No.
And then
just for the English.
Yeah. And then Højbjerg. What do you think of that signing in a Spurs perspective?
Højbjerg's he's a very passionate player, so I think he can be a very good leader for that team. Like with Højbjerg, what you get with him, he's not going to give up. He's going to put everything he has in it in the game.
Yeah.
But it's just whether for some reason I just can't see him fitting into the Tottenham type of. I always imagined him joining, like leaving Saints and joining someone like Liverpool.
Okay.
So I've always thought he suited that club. I just can't really see how he could suit Spurs, especially with Mourinho management.
Yeah.
I think I can see him clashing with Mourinho a bit.
Yeah.
But he did say that the only manager he wanted to play for was Mourinho, so
fair
maybe,
enough.
Maybe something about Mourinho will make him play better.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully for them that works out.
Yeah.
In terms of their midfield, because you're really looking at where he would fit into it.
Yeah.
Because obviously they have Lo Celso and Dombele, and is there anyone else? Dyer. I mean, he's kind of in defence every now and then, but I can't think of anyone else.
Not a great player, to be fair, so I can see him.
Yeah. I think Dyer brings something else to a team, but it's not like necessarily footballing ability.
Yeah, I think if they sold Dyer, I think it would affect them.
Yeah.
Because I think he's like the guy at that club who people probably know very well, and he probably brings the team together.
Yeah, he does seem like that sort of another sort of leader almost. But yeah, I mean, in terms of players that Tottenham have lost, you're looking at people like Vertonghen could be, obviously he's getting older, but he could be a big loss for them. He was always one of their leaders. And then mainly just people on loan. Oliver Skipp played a bit of Premier League football last season for them, and Parrott, I know, obviously ended up playing a couple of games due to Harry Kane's injury, and they're yet to get a replacement to Kane. So maybe Mourinho's planning to play one of the wingers up front if he gets injured. But it's nice to have that sort of second option of having another striker if Kane does get injured. So I'm not sure about that one. But yeah, in terms of... What was that, your 8th?
Yeah, that was my 8th position.
Oh, so my 8th was Everton. So I kind of gave my reasons before in terms of, like, I think they have too much quality to be quite down as far as you said, but I do think that they won't sort of push on as much as some people probably would be saying.
Yeah. I just want to quickly say with my Spurs at 8th, I do think they will win something. So I think they'll win either the League Cup or the FA Cup. I think because I can just see them winning a cup this season. So I think they will still end up in Europa League.
Okay,
but, yeah, I just don't think is going to finish in that top 7.
Okay.
So let's move on to 7th. Who have you put at 7th position?
I put Leicester in 7th.
I put Leicester as well. So.
Okay, yeah. So looking at Leicester, obviously Vardy's just reliable. He'll get you a good amount of goals every season. And then Soyuncu at the back is quite a big player. Anyone else mentioned?
The only thing with Vardy is he is getting older, so
he is.
He scored a lot last season, so it just depends if he's the type of player that can play at a very old age and still perform.
Yeah, it is a case of he's probably I think he's about 32, 33, whatever, and he seems to keep going, and I don't quite know how. Sorry, Karen. Yeah.
I think with Vardy, the thing with him is because he kind of played in the non-league level, he kind of knows how important it is.
Yeah.
I think that kind of mentality has helped him to be where he is.
I think he's.
I'm just looking at signings they've got.
Yeah, I think one thing in terms of signings, I think they will miss a lot is Chilwell. I know a lot of people have mixed opinions on him, and I definitely did when he was at Leicester as well. He's. I'm not sure how good he'll be for Chelsea, but in terms of Leicester, I know that a lot of their goals came from crossing it in to Vardy, and then he did something with it. But it does come from getting that ball in the first place. I'm not sure who they'll play in left back in replacement of him, but I do think they'll miss him a lot.
Because they have signed Timothy Castagna, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
But from Atlanta for 21.5 million. So
I think he's definitely a left-sided player. I'm not sure how defensive he is, but maybe that is their replacement.
I think that is a solid signing, but from how they've played this season, you would expect them to sign a couple more players.
Yeah, I think they definitely, if they want to, you could see at the end of the season when they dropped out of the top 4, they did bottom it essentially because they had it to lose. At one point, they were a lot of points ahead, and they managed to lose it, and they do need a bit more quality. It shows if they want to push into those top 4 spots and into the higher European stage.
Yeah. Alright, so now let's go into the Europa League positions, as well as, so the 6th position, I put Wolves. Who have you put?
So I've put Tottenham.
Okay.
So I've put them a few ahead of where you did. I think Mourinho will. He'll keep them within a decent area. Again, if any of so obviously I had Wolves, Everton, Leicester, Tottenham in that order. But if any of those 4 sort of switched around in any order, it wouldn't really surprise me. I think the top 5 is pretty much locked down in my opinion. But I think from then onwards, it's a bit more it could go either way depending on how teams gel and everything.
Yeah, I'm similar with that idea. I think Wolves will finish 6th because I think they've got a great manager, and I think he will be able to pull them over the line to 6th. And in the last few years, they've been very good. So I do think they will finish 6th. If they did finish 7th, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't have thought they'd finish any lower than that.
Yeah, you can imagine them around that sort of area. Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to 5th position. Who have you got 5th?
So 5th is Arsenal for me.
Same, I put Arsenal 5th as well.
I think Arsenal, obviously they have a really good sort of core squad of players now, and I do think they've strengthened where they needed to strengthen, which I still don't think they'll break into the top 4. I just don't think they will be consistent enough to do that. Obviously, Aubameyang, he does what he does. He scores goals, and you can't question him. Obviously, some of the other players around him, Nicolas Pepe, Lacazette, they're a bit more inconsistent. Same with their new signings in terms of Willian. Watching him at Chelsea, obviously, he is a very good player on his day, but his day doesn't come around all that often. and a lot of the time he can be very frustrating, which I think Arsenal will definitely find eventually.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say is I think 5th position for Arsenal is very good, considering where they finished last season. So I think it would show a good improvement if they could get that 5th position, and then they can push on to,
I definitely think it's possible for them to push on, because watching Gabriel today, I think he had like a shaky first 10 minutes, but then he was very solid. He was very solid in defence for them, although he was playing against a very weak Fulham team.
Yeah.
So I am judging it on that, but I do think in that game specifically he was very solid, and he looks like he could definitely be important for them going forward. Other signings, Mari, I'm not sure too much about him, and then Cedric Suarez from Southampton again. What do you think of that one?
He put in some good supports for Saints, don't get me wrong, but what I didn't understand is when they're always trying to rebuild at the moment with a lot of stuff they're doing, and I don't know why you would buy a right back who's that old, who's in his late 20s, early 30s.
And give him such a big contract as well.
Yeah, giving him a long contract, it just didn't make sense. The original one did, because I could understand just having him for that 6-month period.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand whether they think they can have him for a year and then sell him or something like that.
Maybe.
But if they are just going to run out his contract, it just wouldn't really make sense for me.
Thing is, you just can't see him playing ahead of Bellerin. Like, I know Bellerin's a bit on and off as well, but I don't know. I don't think Cedric brings enough defensively to kick the more attacking side of Bellerin out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tierney as well. I know he's not a new signing, but he feels like a new signing because he was out for a little bit. When he's played recently, he's been very good for them, even though he's been playing in more of a central defensive possession. He's done a job for them very well. I think their defence has improved a lot, and I think that is definitely what they were lacking before.
I think with Arteta as well, because he's been around like Man City and stuff, he'll know. I think a lot of the way he plays, he's learned off Guardiola.
Definitely, yeah.
So, I think they will be able to get themselves to 5th position and I honestly believe that if they have a good season this year, then maybe next year they can push on to being title contenders.
I think they definitely need to. They need to sort of. I think it'll take them a couple of years to get to that stage, but I do think eventually they could definitely get there with the right.
I think if they can push themselves into Champions League, they can. It's just I just don't think they will get to that stage right now.
Yeah, I don't think they're quite there.
I think they'll probably get maybe the season after, and then a couple of years after that, maybe they could get themselves into a position where they could win another Premier League.
Yeah, definitely.
Now let's move on to the Champions League positions. So number 4, position 4. Who have you put there?
So I've put Man United. Obviously, this is pre-Sancho, pre-whoever else they might be signing. This is looking at their current squad on the Saturday of the first day of the Premier League. Who have you put?
I've put Liverpool, actually. So.
Oh, wow. 4th. Okay.
There's the main reason I've done that is I feel like Liverpool, as a squad, I think they kind of achieved what they wanted, was that Champions League and the Premier League. And I think they're gonna be against a lot of teams that want that league back, like City. They're gonna want the league back. Chelsea are gonna want the league, and I think United are gonna want to be able to push themselves up as high as they can and contend for the league. And I think Liverpool, I think they're gonna lose a bit of that grind to get it because they've won the Champions League now and they've won the Premier League.
I actually do agree. In terms of my reason for putting Man United 4th, if they do go on to sign players like Sancho, I think they're trying to sign Reguilon from Sevilla and one more player. I can't remember who it was at all.
Yeah.
But they're trying to sign 3 players that could be big players in their team and just fill those roles that you're missing. I mean, obviously, Bruno Fernandes, since he's come in, he's been very good for them. As much as I hate him as a Chelsea fan, He is a very good player, realistically.
Yeah.
And I think with those couple more acquisitions, I think they could that they'll be up with the title challenges.
Yeah, I think Greenwood as well. He had a good finish of the season as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Rashford as well. Great player.
Yeah, Martial's improved a lot recently as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've got a very good attack, and now they've got Van de Beek as well. I think that's going to be very good for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Defensively as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've put. So we'll move on to third now. I've put Man United third.
See, I've put Liverpool third.
We just said, so we'll just move on.
Yeah, I've put Liverpool third for exactly the same reason. I think they'll get ahead of Man United, but I don't think they'll. I do think they've lost a bit of that passion. Although they did, saying that, they kept on going today against Leeds, and even though they should be beating teams like Leeds, like they did show that they still had a bit of passion at least.
Yeah.
I think they'll struggle when it comes to the sort of big struggles in the middle of the season that every team has. Like when because every team hits some sort of problem along the way, say a Salah injury, Van Dijk injury. If one of those things happens, I would then sort of fear for their top three, or even their title challenging. Like I'd fear for that if they lost any of the three big players.
I think when you haven't won a league, or ever won a Premier League, technically, I think that kind of feeling you get from the fans can get you to put the extra effort in. But when you've just won it, it's not going to be the same feeling. So that's why I think they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Win it. So should we just go straight to first now and then go to second after?
Yeah, I mean we've got the same too. So.
Yeah. Okay. So who have you put at first position?
As much as I'd love Chelsea to win the league, I have put Man City first.
Okay.
Who have you gone for?
I put Chelsea first, actually.
Oh wow! Okay. I honestly, I think we do have. I think it's between the two, but
yeah,
I can't bring myself to say, oh yeah, Chelsea are going to win the league, because I don't know. I'm just not. It feels weird that after last season being with all those young players.
Yeah, I think. Well, because you had the transfer ban at the start.
Yeah.
If anything, that was probably a good thing in a way, where you were able to try out these young players who.
Yeah, essentially, people like Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, they probably would have left by now if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
And now, although obviously we've like replaced them almost already, but I think what we have done, having those players like Mount and Abraham, currently we've still got Giroud, we've got all of these sort of young players that are backups almost, even though Lampard will rotate them. I think we've kind of got what Man City have had for the last 3 years, where they've had so much depth in their squad that you always think that even if, say Werner gets injured and Abraham has to play for a few games, you can count on a striker like that. I mean, Abraham got a good amount of goals last season, even though it wasn't sort of towards the end. I do think that sort of we've got that depth now to move forward to challenge with Man City, essentially.
I think so. Originally when Werner and Werner signed, I thought, oh yeah, they can definitely challenge. But now they've got Havertz, Werner, and Ziyech. I just think that signing those three players, I think that can definitely get them Premier League, as well as long as the players gel well together. Obviously.
Yeah, that is a big.
Luck goes your way. If the luck doesn't go your way, then you obviously can't win the title.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, and I think one thing that Chelsea were struggling with last season defensively, obviously, it's we conceded as many goals as Brighton. No disrespect to Brighton, but in to get fourth position with that amount of goals conceded is actually very impressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
And obviously moving forward, we've got. I think we'll end up using Zuma and Thiago Silva for at least a season, maybe two if he keeps going. Thiago Silva, obviously, he is 35. That is one thing that you do have to look at. However, he was still playing in a Champions League final 4 weeks ago.
From what his agent said about how the main thing in his life is playing football.
Yeah, he's sort of completely dedicated
to get to this stage of his career.
Yeah,
and keep playing at a high level.
I think that's why, at least for 1 or 2 years, he'll be very, very big for us. And he brings a sort of another side of leadership. Obviously, we've got our captain, Azpilicueta, may not even be playing next season if Reece James pushes in. Therefore, you're looking at other sort of people to lead the team. And you're looking at people like Thiago Silva, because he's been a leader for years.
Yeah, and he's been in many finals.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah, he's brought a lot of sort of accolades with him.
Yeah.
In terms of Man City, obviously they haven't. Who have they signed? They signed Ferran Torres, and they've signed Nathan Ake. That's it.
Nathan Ake, yeah.
They've
Nathan
lost.
Ake is a class signing, but I'm just not sure if that's good enough.
I'm not sure if he's. It depends what he's coming in to be. If he's coming in to be their starting partner for Laporte, I don't think he's at that level yet.
Yeah.
But if he's sort of a backup, then I would say, yeah, fair enough. Torres, I don't know too much about. However, I do know that Leroy Sané leaving is a big loss for them. Obviously, he didn't really play last season anyway due to injuries. But he'll still be a big loss for them. And David Silva as well, even though he's leaving on a free. He was still playing a lot of last season. So I think they'll definitely miss him.
Yeah, he's definitely a class player for them as well.
Yeah, and him leaving means that Foden has to step up, essentially.
Yeah.
And if he can step up and take his role over, then, I mean, they can keep going the way they are. But it is sort of relying on that, I think.
Yeah, I think it is. I think, realistically, if Man City won the league instead of Chelsea, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's just one of those two. I think they are the main team that could win it. I think I could also see United and possibly Liverpool winning it. But I think mainly it is them two.
Yeah, I think that could be how it ends. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you just read out your league table from top to bottom.
Okay. So my league table. So in first I had Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Sheffield, Burnley, Leeds, Newcastle, Southampton, Brighton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Fulham, Villa and West Brom.
Okay, so in my table I've put Chelsea at the top, and then put Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester, Spurs, Sheffield United, Southampton, Everton, Leeds, Burnley, Newcastle, Brighton, Crystal Palace, West Ham, Villa, Fulham, and West Brom.
Okay, yes.
We're probably going to do a score reaction to the matches from Saturday and Sunday and Monday, which will be Tuesday or Wednesday that video come out. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, put dislike and put why in the comment section down below. See you later.